Part one of a Wembley double header on the channel here today. We've got the FA Cup semi-final against Cardiff here, and then at 7 o'clock today we're back with home for the FA Trophy final. What a day. If only I could find my suit or had time to have a haircut. Hello and welcome to Club 4, Part 12 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have that FA Cup semi-final against Cardiff. Plus, we've got a Premier League game against Huddersfield. But we don't really care about the Premier League anymore. We're mathematically safe after the last episode. We're really just playing for time. Although, in fact, he says that. Do the rules mention prize money in here? This is interesting. So the difference between 8th place, which we could still realistically do, and let's say 14th place, which we could fall down to if we don't play well, is 12 million quid. Okay, perhaps we do need to concentrate on the Premier League for the rest of the season, because that's quite a significant chunk of money when you're in the financial situation we're in and need to be able to spend in the summer. So forget what I just said. We want wins. We beat Chelsea in the league, so that was a win. Local derby, away from home. El Shaarawy, his first goal for the club in the 90th minute. That was very satisfying. And hopefully we continue that form going into the game against Cardiff in the FA Cup semi-final. Cardiff, who are down in a relegation battle in the Championship. This is their big day out. This is their cup final, unless they win it, in which case the actual cup final will be their cup final. But hopefully we can sort them out, book a spot in the FA Cup final, and have the splendid time we had by all. I mean, that's how that story ends. So, this is the team we're putting out there to try and achieve exactly that. We're going with Kaltak in goal, a back four of Brian, Mawson, Duffy and Sessegnon. Tainio at the base of the midfield with Calderon and Pineda ahead of him. Mitrovic up front, supported by Hall and El Shaarawy. I've got to play El Shaarawy after his heroics against Chelsea. Mirabella, although he's been very good on the whole since he signed, he's not been in the best of form for the last couple of games. I don't think it would do him any harm to sit out for a game or two, especially as we still don't have any clue about whether or not this guy is going to sign for us permanently in the summer. I would suggest he's probably not, because he's on, I mean, geez, is that that's his contract with us? When's his contract with Napoli? He's got a 3-year contract with Napoli. I don't think we're going to be signing him permanently. We could get him on loan again, but if we're getting El Shaarawy coming into some good form, we want to capitalise on that, because he definitely will be here next year. So that's why he's playing. Let's get into the game. Man City have already knocked Burnley out in the other Cup semi-final. That's weird. That doesn't happen in real life. Surely both Cup semi-finals, both at Wembley, both on the same day. What if that had gone to extra time and penalties? You'd still have celebrating Man City fans in the ground when the Fulham and Cardiff fans turned up. Come on, Football Manager. Think about these things. Right, let's get into the... I've pressed a lot of buttons to get into this match. Why is this taking so long? I just want to play some football. We want to win. We want to beat Cardiff, who, of course, are the team that we could have ended up managing way back when, before we ended up with Fulham. We did apply for the Cardiff job, but in the end, Stephen Gerrard, who was Fulham manager before me, got the Cardiff job and proceeded to get sacked within a year. I got the Fulham job, and here we are. I win that one. Right. Yeah, we do deserve to be in the final. Let's make it happen. That hasn't really had any impact. But then, team talks never do in the world of Kev. Early warning again, I do still have my cold and my sniffle, so we're still going to be a bit jumpy today. Hopefully, we'll be back to normal service soon. Right. Why have Cardiff had all of the possession early on? That's a worry. I know there was only 5 minutes on the clock, but for us to barely touch the ball in the first 15 minutes or so, not good. Now we need to establish ourselves in this game. Let's get out there and show some passion. It might be a bit early for showing passion, but it's the FA Cup semi-final. Brian just over. He scored a beauty of a free kick like that a game or two ago. It might have even been against Chelsea, unless you saw it. Did you see it? I think it might have been against Chelsea. It was a lovely free kick from exactly that position, though. Hall now squares it to Calderon, who, I mean, it was fairly straight down the throat of the goalkeeper, I think. You would have expected their keeper to do a little bit better. I'm not going to complain that he didn't. We've got 1-0 up on the half-hour mark. Let's look at it from the other side. Perhaps it was better than I've given Calderon credit for here. Let's have a little look at it. Hall plays it across. Calderon, okay, no, it's not straight at the keeper. It's a decent finish. I would still expect the keeper to at least move for it if he was my keeper, but at least we've turned this period of dominance into a lead. 63% possession. Cardiff haven't had a shot yet. I'd really want a second one before half-time, if we can squeeze it in there somehow. Not going to happen though, is it? 1-0. I can live with 1-0. 1-0 is fine. Let's be assertive. Guard against complacency. Everybody's happy, apart from some of these pesky defenders and goalkeepers and whatnot. Who cares about them lot? This is all about attackers. We're an attacking team these days. Mawson, nothing. Calder on 8.2 purely because he scored a goal. Everyone else knocking around on 6s. Although Brian's got a decent rating, and it goes out. Oh, I thought that was Brian, but of course it's Mawson because we do our fancy goal kicks now. Mawson bringing it almost to the halfway line, finds Brian. Back to Mawson again. This feels like a goal is building. Pineda, lots of space to play in, plays it out to Hall, who equally has a lot of space. Sessegnon, lots of space. Have Cardiff heard of marking or pressing? They just seem to be letting us have the ball, which is weird when we like having the ball. Pineda, all the way across to Brian. I think it was probably meant for Al-Shaarawy, but Brian picks it up. Hall is there, and his header just bounces off I think it was probably the top of the net rather than the crossbar. But it is very odd how happy Cardiff seem to be letting us have the football. Almost as if they have a plan. They're here to counter-attack, hit us on the break, and let's hope they don't do that right now. Al-Shaarawy probably should have done a little bit better there, and that should be a warning for us that we're only 1-0 up. Yes, we've had 65% of the possession, but we're only 1-0 up. We could do with a second goal just to kill this game off. Al-Shaarawy hasn't performed at all. Let's get Mirabella on. We're also going to bring on Freddie Power to play up front, but because it's the FA Cup semi-final, we are going to say, look, today only you can be an advanced forward. You still need to become a complete forward, though, if you're going to be our long-term attacking option. But I can handle him just running about a lot, using his pace as an advanced forward for the last 20 minutes of this game, stretching the defence a little bit. That's what we want from you, Freddie. Who else have we got we can bring on? There's not much in the way of central midfield players we can bring on. We've still got Cullen knocking around the club, but I've kind of decided Cullen's not a Premier League quality player, so he doesn't really get much of a look in anymore. I would like to bring another midfielder on, but we haven't really got one. Pineda has put us 2-0 up on 78 minutes. His first ever goal for us. It's, despite all the possession and all the shots, it's been 2 long-range efforts that have, fingers crossed, won us this game. But I'm not going to complain. We're at Wembley. We're winning at Wembley. Hopefully booking a spot back at Wembley again. And this is where I ask the question I always ask in this situation. Manchester City are the other team already in the final. They've already qualified for the Champions League through the Premier League. What does that mean for the Europa League? Does that mean that we're going to bring Velasquez to play there? He's done that a few times for us, get Tainio off. Does that mean that we're automatically in the Europa League even if we lose the FA Cup? Or does that place go to... Oh, my word. Let's not get... I'll ask that question at the end. You know where I'm going with it. I don't want to tempt fate anymore. Let's show more passion. We tried to show some passion early on. We want a bit more passion now. Cardiff have grabbed a goal, and it's a lovely finish as well. Probably better than either of the goals we scored. And we do just need to wake up a little bit. And they're coming at us again here. This is a problem. Oh my word. That fella has just scored 2 absolute screamers against us. We were already planning our European adventure. Meanwhile, Bobby De Cordova-Reid has just scored 2 absolutely outstanding worldies. And I don't understand anymore. What has just happened? Now we've got to do extra time. If we make it that far. Demand more. This is not okay. We were completely in control of that game. We've dominated the whole game. And he's just scored 2 absolutely ridiculous goals. Oh, this bodes badly for us. I've been in this situation before. We are going to struggle to come out of this. Right. I am not happy. There you go. I fired them up. Because I am unhappy. Do we get another substitution now? Because I think we do. Aubameyang's not going to make much of a difference. Although... Freddie Power was a fun substitution to make at the time. Aubameyang, I'd probably rather have on the pitch at this point. Keegan, I'm not going to take Hall off, I don't think, unless he gets absolutely... I'm going to save it. I'm going to bring Aubameyang on in the 118th minute if we need him, because he can hit a decent penalty, and if it comes to that point, we'd quite like him. I like winning penalty shootouts. Bring him on for Sessegnon in the 118th minute. Oh, I cannot believe this has happened. 2 ridiculous goals. He had no right to score those goals. Right, we do need to be keeping an eye on the clock for Aubameyang o'clock. He's going to miss a penalty. He'll miss the penalty that loses us the spot in the cup final now. Right, what are we going to do? Who can't hit penalties? Right, Calderon is shattered. That's the change. So this is probably a really dumb thing to do. But I've done dumb things before. There you go. We'll give 5 minutes of that. Ooh. But at least we've got Aubameyang on for the penalty shootout. I hope. There you go. He is on. Excellent. Oh, this is so stupid. Demand more again. How have we thrown this way? Look at those stats. Two wonder goals. And actually, Cardiff have got into it a lot more since they got those goals. Obviously, the momentum's all with them. But here is Aubameyang out to Mirabella. Pineda now. Can we score a last-minute winner and just ruin Cardiff's day? Hall. Cross comes over to Aubameyang. I thought he'd done it. Oh, he's still only scored that one goal for us on his debut. No. That's sickening. That is disgusting. And that is 2 years in a row we've gone deep in the FA Cup and then got knocked out by a team we should have beaten. It was Reading last year in the quarterfinal, Cardiff this year in the semi-final, and that's effectively our season over. We have nothing more to play for at this point. Oh, that is dirty, disgusting, horrible. Will anyone notice if I reload? I cannot believe that's just happened. Yeah, we are in for training tomorrow. I am going to destroy these lads. That was hideous. Let's go and play Huddersfield. Still not recovered. I've had to make some changes as well. Or one change. No, 2 changes that have been forced on me. Cullen, who I've just been dissing, has got to come back into the team because Calderon's still not fit after getting injured in the Cup semi-final. El Shaarawy keeps his place because Mirabella's now picked up a knock as well. And I've also brought Moore in at centre-back as well, just really to give Mawson a bit of a rest. He's on a high injury risk at the moment. And we're just going to rotate a little bit for the rest of the season, just try and bring players out of the team as and when we need to. Brian is another one who I'd like to be able to rest, but I don't really have anyone who can come in for him, whereas we had Moore there as an option to come in for Mawson. So it was an easy bit of rotation to do. I don't really have easy rotation anywhere else. I'm still sad about that FA Cup semi-final. I'm going to be sad for... I'm imagining what you lot are writing in the comments now to ruin me. Yeah, let's go and avenge what happened the last time we played Huddersfield. I have no idea what happened the last time we played Huddersfield. Matriz has been left out because he's our third choice winger. I actually kind of hope Arsenal sack this guy because then we'll go and manage Arsenal. No, we're not going to go manage. Was it last year we did Arsenal? We can't go and do Arsenal again, surely. I actually feel like I might have to Fulham, and I'm not looking to leave Fulham. I'm not going to be applying for any jobs. I'm going to wait and see what's offered, unless I stop enjoying Fulham. But I am very much enjoying Fulham, so I'm not going to be applying for anything. But I feel like I want to go abroad after Fulham, because it can, as we found with Leicester making the step up to Arsenal last year, it can be quite difficult to make that step up to a real elite English club without kind of forcing your way into their little club anyway. Oh God! And I don't know if we're going to be around at Fulham long enough to get them into the Champions League to then be able to make a sideways step to another Champions League club, but who are a bigger club the way we did last year. It might make more sense to go and manage in another country after Fulham and see how we get on there. We'll see. We're going to wait and see what's offered. Like I say, I'm not going to be applying for anything unless we lose to Huddersfield, in which case I'm going to leave because that would be hideous. Right, Hall to Pineda. We've got, the other thing, I said the Premier League wasn't that important now. The other thing is we've got all of these players who are in on loan, and we need to be convincing them this is a place where they can achieve their goals next season. Mitrovic, 13th goal of the season. He has been on fire for this second half of the season, scoring a lot of goals. I don't know. Is this just a real purple patch for Mitrovic, or are we safe keeping him as our main striker for next season? Because all my instincts in January were the one missing piece of the jigsaw was I couldn't find a striker. And then all of a sudden Mitrovic starts playing better. Possibly because he's got better players around him supporting him now. He's now got Hall, El Shaarawy and Pineda creating chances for him, which is a higher calibre of player than what he had doing it before. So, I don't know, maybe Mitrovic was never the problem. He was, star rating wise, he was the best player at the club when I arrived. So perhaps he was just... didn't really have enough quality around him, and now he does, maybe. Huddersfield are in again, and Kaltak makes a save, and Sessegnon lumps clear. Sessegnon's on the verge of an England call-up, by the way, as well, who started the season, or last season, he didn't really get a look in. Johan Larsson was obviously playing. I mean, he was player of the season in the Championship last year. He went off the boil as this season went on, and he got a little bit older. But Sessegnon's forced his way into the team, and I don't feel the need to go out and buy a new right back now. Sessegnon he looks like a Premier League quality right back, and he's on the verge of bursting into the England team as well. Still young as well, only 23. Did do quite poorly there though. Or was that is that Tinio? Who is that? No, that is Sessegnon. Yeah. We'll ignore. Oh, it was Benicophobia. I don't like Benicophobia, mainly because he used to play for Huddersfield. When Huddersfield, I mean, I can see he's at Huddersfield again now, but when Huddersfield were going on and on and on about being unbeaten in the league for 50 games a few years ago, when in actual fact Posh beat them halfway through in the playoff final, and apparently the playoffs don't count as the league, and I'm still bitter about it, even though we won and we got promoted. The fact that they claimed an unbeaten league record. The playoffs are obviously the league, you idiots. You lost. And Benicophobia was part of that team, and anyone who was part of that team just becomes on my enemies list by default. Although Jordan Rhodes was on the bench on that playoff final, and I like him because I had him at Forest Green. But he didn't start. Benicophobia started. This is a story I probably don't need to tell. This is my cold and flu medication and my antibiotics talking. Just pretend it. Just mute me. Watch the football and assume I'm just telling you tales from my past like an old man who's taken too much flu medication. Right, we're losing quite badly at half-time here, and I don't know what to do about it because, yet again, our strength in depth comes back to bite us. And there's a couple of people said in the comments yesterday that our one and only priority for the summer should be to firm up these loan signings, and I agree, that's our top priority, but a few people have indicated that signing backup players isn't that important. This is where I say backup players are absolutely important. We've taken a couple of injuries to Calderon, to Mirabella, and all of a sudden I'm looking at that bench thinking there's not a man on that bench who can come on and change this match. Keegan is not close to the player that Hall or El Shaarawy are. Power is nowhere near Mitrovic. Aubameyang's past it. Calderon's injured. Mawson, he's a centre-back. He's not going to change the game. There's no game changers on that bench, and that is a real problem. Right, what do we do? We're going to take Tinio off, and we're going to bring on Keegan, and we're going to do this. And that looks like it's not going to make much of an impact, really, but we've got to do something. Let's also, as part of that, demand more. Got to find a way. Where are Huddersfield? Huddersfield are now going to be above us in the league. This pushes us down to 12th. We saw a few minutes ago how important league position is going to be. The difference between 8th and 12th is like 8 million quid. Cullen's going to have to come off for Calderon, and we'll take more off for Mawson. Which, if they were Icelandic, wouldn't that make more Mawson's dad? Is that how it works? Again, you should have mute. I told you to mute it. If you're now going to groan at that dad joke, I told you to mute it 3 minutes ago. If you didn't mute it, that's your fault that you had to listen to that. It's not mine. I can't be held responsible for what happens when I'm delirious and running a fever. It's not my fault. Right, Brian heads it down to Pineda. Pineda forward towards Mitrovic. Why is Mitrovic still on the pitch? Whose idea was that? And Mitrovic has been fouled. No one cares at this stage. Send him off. It makes no difference. We're not going to get back into the game in the 91st minute. He has been sent off. Let's try and get back into the game. Get creative. Duffy creatively heads it forward to Pineda, who plays it back to Mawson. Back to Pineda. This isn't creative. This is knocking it around in a little defensive triangle when we've already had all of the injury time and we're still 2 goals down. There's no ambition in this play. Oh, that was a horrible episode that I'm going to do my very best to block out of my memory. Let's shout at him again. Yeah, you're going to train. You'll just train every day until you start winning football matches again, you tools. Right, the plan from here. My plan was an FA Cup final and the last game of the season. Obviously, that's been ruined by circumstances. So I think what we're going to do, rather than showing another couple of league games, I'm just going to come back tomorrow. We'll do Leicester as the last game of the season, and then we'll do the season review in the second half of tomorrow's episode, and then do transfers the next day. So rather than mushing season review and transfers together into a 45-minute, hour-long video, we'll do 20 minutes tomorrow and include the season review, and then maybe 20 minutes, half hour of transfers the next day. Might even end up being a better way to do it long term. Who knows? Did that really just happen? If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. I mean, we deserve 1,000 likes today just to make me feel better about my own ineptitude. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.